Man, LDWMAC. Look here, Emily. Emily, what happened out there, Emily? What happened? This fight right here was yours. Yeah, I told it. This fight right here was yours, Emily. It was yours. What was you doing? You had control of Hannah Goldie, and this is no disrespect to Hannah Goldie or any fighter, but it wasn't like Hannah Goldie was doing anything difficult that you couldn't handle. Wasn't like she was doing anything that you couldn't stop. Hannah Goldie, pretty much, she jacked to the rim. She jacked. Hannah Goldie is just strong. That's it. Okay, now Hannah Goldie was putting some good pressure on Emily Whitmire. I gotta admit. But part of it, I felt like Hannah Goldie wasn't landing effective strikes. Now, Hannah Goldie had some very good leg kicks. She had some damn good body kicks, okay? Hannah Goldie had some good body kicks. But I think Emily Whitmire, to me, was in control of more of the fight. See, what Hannah Goldie would do is she would use her size, and she would start, pressing Emily Whitmire to the cage. She would start pressing her to the cage. And then next thing you know, Emily Whitmire would do these beautiful trips / hip tosses, and then, Hannah Goldie would be on her ass. And Emily Whitmire was doing some pretty good top control, landing some good strikes. But, oh, that tricky Hannah Goldie. Oh, that tricky Hannah Goldie. Man, look, Hannah the whole time was on the ground on the bottom, but she was fishing for a submission. And I kind of saw her trying to get her hips into position. I saw her doing it. But the first time, she was unsuccessful. Emily Whitmire saw what was going on, and she pulled her arm out and stood back up. This is where I thought Emily Whitmire should have kind of, did one or two things, okay? She should have either one, put her head in the chest of Hannah Goldie and just continued to throw strikes, because it would have made it a lot harder for Hannah Goldie to try to throw up any submissions, okay? That's what she should have did. Or she should have just stood back up, and she should have kept the fight standing, okay? Those were probably some options. I thought Emily Whitmire was being pretty mildly effective on the feet. Not like, beating the hell out of Hannah Goldie, but she was, she had some pretty good counters. And I thought Emily Whitmire, her counters were making a difference. And I felt like that's why Hannah Goldie took Emily Whitmire and threw her on the dang on cage. Hannah Goldie is strong. She was using that strength to her advantage, but Emily Whitmire was smartly, wisely using Hannah Goldie's strength and aggression to get on the ground. Hannah Goldie, you might want to work on that, buddy. Because Hannah was losing this fight. Okay, guys, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She was losing the fight. And then, Emily Whitmire took Hannah Goldie down for the second time. And boy, Emily Whitmire was, started out doing good, posturing up on Hannah Goldie, throwing some punches, just whooping on Hannah's ass. And next thing you know, Hannah Goldie, boy. Hannah Goldie had her in an armbar from the bottom. Let me tell you. And I kind of saw it coming, because Emily would keep leaving that arm there, and Hannah would reach for it, and she would miss. Like whenever Emily Whitmire was throwing these strikes. And then the next thing you know, Hannah Goldie, she reached up, she grabbed it, and she had that thing locked in. And Emily Whitmire was trying to lift her up. And you know how some fighters do. Like, you lift the fighter up, and then you try to slam them. Well, that don't work. And I'm trying to figure out, why did Emily Whitmire lift her arm out? Because that's just going to hyperextend the arm even more. I felt like Emily Whitmire should have just put her body down. Like, put her body down on the arm and try to get her chest close to Hannah Goldie, so Hannah Goldie couldn't hyperextend the arm. It baffles me. When a fighter's arm is caught in an armbar from the bottom, the fighter will lift the other fighter up in the air and slam him on the ground. That just makes the problem worse. I don't know. Octagon IQ caught up with Emily Whitmire. It just caught up. And Hannah Goldie, she saw it, But Hannah Goldie is pretty good at jiu-jitsu, so she's always looking for openings. I got to say, yes, the fight was a good fight. It was a decent fight. Emily Whitmire was in control of this fight till that little mishap. The thing of it is, it's not like, and I'm not being mean, I'm just being honest, okay? I don't think Hannah Goldie is a world beater. I think Hannah Goldie does have some pretty good attributes, but it's like, Emily, wow. Folks, I'm going to just tell y'all this. I think Emily Whitmire staying in the UFC. has probably been concluded. Um, I haven't been seeing her do anything positive while she's been there. I just haven't seen her do a whole lot that just, warranted her to be around. I mean, maybe I could be wrong this time. But normally when I make this prediction and I tell you that, hey, it's time to go, I think that Emily Whitmire, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, okay? Um, and Hannah Goldie isn't the best fighter on the roster, on the depth chart. It's not her. And you're getting beat by somebody you were picked to beat, somebody you were beating. Emily, just hadn't been a good stay for you in the UFC. And when people say, well, she should go back down to Invicta, I don't know if that's an option because, Invicta and the UFC, they don't have that strong business working relationship anymore. So you don't know. I mean, maybe Shannon Knapp would pick her up. I don't know, but it's clear to say, man, I don't think that Emily is on this level. I don't think she's on this level, man. I just don't. I mean, maybe, I don't know, somebody can, if you disagree with that, okay, put your reasons in the comment section. I mean, tell me. I'm done. Congrats to Hannah Goldie. Armbar submission, first round.